The Romans were just a warm-up. In the last episode, we saw how Khalid ibn al-Walid saved 3,000 men from the jaws of the Roman Empire. It was a miracle, but to the rest of the world, it was just a skirmish in the desert. The superpowers of the world, Rome and Persia, still looked at the Muslims as simple shepherds. They thought that these Bedouins would never dare to step into the lands of kings. The Caliph, Abu Bakr as-Siddiq, had a vision. He did not just want to secure the borders. He wanted to break the tyranny of the empires that surrounded them. He looked east, toward the Sassanid Persian Empire. This was a monster of a civilization. They possessed massive wealth, steel elephants, and heavy cavalry that had ruled the east for 400 years. They were considered invincible. Who could Abu Bakr send against such a giant? Who had the heart to look a king in the eye and not blink? Abu Bakr sat in Medina and wrote a letter. He didn't send it to a massive army. He sent it to one man. He said, "By Allah, I shall destroy the Christians and the Persians with Khalid ibn al-Walid. March to Iraq. Start with the gateway of the empire. And do not stop until you reach the capital. 10,000 light cavalry against the heavy steel of Persia." His first target was the governor of the Delta, a man named Hormuz. Hormuz was not just a general. He was a tyrant who despised the Arabs. He was so arrogant that he wore a crown worth 100,000 dirhams. When he heard Khalid was coming, he laughed. He gathered his army and prepared for what would be known as the Battle of Chains. The Persian soldiers were so confident, or perhaps so afraid of running away from the battlefield, that they chained themselves together in lines. They thought the chains made them an unbreakable wall of iron. Khalid looked at them and saw something else. He didn't see a wall. He saw prisoners awaiting execution. Hormuz wanted to crush Khalid with sheer weight. He chose a battlefield near the water, where his heavy troops could hold the line. But Khalid knew the Persian weakness. They were heavy. They were slow. They carried hundreds of pounds of armor. He marched his army to one location. Hormuz, furious, marched his heavy army to meet him. But just as the Persians arrived, exhausted and sweating in their heavy steel, Khalid was gone. He had moved his light, fast army to a different location. Hormuz had to march his tired men again. And again, by the time the battle actually started, the Persians were gasping for air. Their legs were heavy. Their morale was broken before the first arrow was fired. Then, Khalid did what he always did. He didn't hide in the back tent like the Persian kings. He rode out to the center of the battlefield and called out, "Where's Hormuz?" The tyrant rode out to meet him. Hormuz had a plan. He had hidden assassins to jump Khalid during the duel. It was a dishonorable trap. But he forgot who he was fighting. He was fighting the man who broke 9 swords at Mu'tah. They clashed. In seconds, Khalid overpowered him. The assassins jumped out, but Khalid's companion, Qaqa ibn Amr, struck them down instantly. Khalid grabbed Hormuz, the tyrant of the east, and finished him. The Persian army watched their leader fall. Panic set in. They tried to run, but remember the chains? The chains that were supposed to make them strong became their death sentence. When one man fell, he dragged 5 others down with him. It was a massacre. Khalid had kicked open the door to Persia, but the empire was not dead. They were furious. The emperor sent another army, and then another. This leads us to the Battle of Walaja. This battle is studied in military academies to this day. The Persians sent an army twice the size of Khalid's force. They expected to crush him with numbers, but Khalid executed a maneuver that is almost impossible to pull off. It is called the double envelopment or the Pincer movement. While the Persians pushed forward, thinking they were winning, Khalid had secretly sent his cavalry around the back of the hills. At the perfect moment, his cavalry appeared behind the Persians. The Persians were surrounded. They were attacked from the front and the back. It was a masterclass in warfare. Khalid destroyed the army completely. But the defining moment of the campaign came at the Battle of Ullais. The Persians were tired of losing. They gathered a massive force, 70,000 men, backed by the Christian Arab tribes who wanted revenge. They were angry. They were hungry for Muslim blood. The battle was brutal. It was the fiercest fighting Khalid had ever seen. The Persians fought like demons. For hours, the Muslims could not break them. The sun was hot, the dust was choking, and the swords were dulling against the heavy Persian armor. In the heat of the slaughter, Khalid looked up to the sky. He made an oath that would shake history. He said, "O Allah, if you give us victory over them, I swear that I will not stop killing them until their blood flows in a river." Think about that oath. He wasn't just asking for a win. He was promising a punishment. Allah granted him the victory. The Persian line collapsed. But Khalid had a promise to keep. He ordered his men not to kill the retreating soldiers on the spot, but to capture them. Thousands were captured. He brought them to the dry riverbed of a canal. And there, the promise was fulfilled. The history books tell us the river turned red. It was a message to the entire world that the era of the tyrants is over. The era of justice has arrived. After Ullais, the path to the capital of the province, Hira, was open. The governors of Hira saw what happened. They didn't even fight. They opened the gates and surrendered. And it is here, in the palaces of Hira, that a famous incident occurred. The local leaders wanted to test the faith of this new conqueror. They brought Khalid a small vial of deadly poison. They said, "If your cause is righteous, this will not harm you." His soldiers told him not to touch it. But Khalid took the vial. He looked at them and said, "In the name of Allah, the Lord of the heavens and the earth, with whose name nothing can cause harm." He drank the poison in one gulp. The Persians watched in silence, waiting for him to collapse, waiting for him to die. But Khalid stood tall. He brushed off his beard and smiled. The poison did nothing. The people of Hira were terrified. They said, "This man is not human. His weapon is not just steel. His weapon is his faith." Khalid sat in the palace of Hira. A Bedouin from the desert, who grew up sleeping under the stars, was now standing in the palaces of the ancient kings. But Khalid didn't sit on the throne. He didn't drink their wine. He called for a scribe. He wanted to send a message to the emperor of Persia, Yazdijerd. He dictated a letter that is still studied by historians today. He wrote these words: "From Khalid ibn al-Walid to the kings of Persia. Praise be to Allah who dissolved your order and humbled your power. Submit to Islam and be safe. Or agree to pay the tax and be under our protection. But if you refuse," and here is the line that terrified the world, "if you refuse, then I have brought you a people who love death just as much as you love drinking wine." The conquest of Persia was not just a military victory. It was a clash of mindsets. One side fought for gold, for wine, for crowns. The other side fought for the truth. And as Khalid showed them, nothing can stand against the truth. But while Khalid was dismantling the east, a storm was brewing in the west. The Roman Empire had heard the news. Heraclius was gathering an army that would make the Persians look small. The biggest challenge of Khalid's life was yet to come. The Battle of Yarmouk is calling. We do not need Hollywood when we have the Sahaba. If this story made you feel the power of this Ummah, please like this video and subscribe to the channel. Help us spread this legacy to the world. And let me know in the comments, what is your favorite quote from Khalid ibn al-Walid? I will see you in episode 5, the Yarmouk, the battle that changed the world forever. This is your history. Don't forget it. Subscribe and like the video to support the channel, and comment Allahu Akbar to show your pride.